Hey guys, this is our first episode of Royal Recap. I'm Myers Morgan.
I'm Casey Ocheski. A little bit about myself. From New Bern, North Carolina, about 4 hours due east of Charlotte, towards the beach a little bit. I'm on the men's golf team, sophomore. Been playing golf for about 9 years. I've actually been surrounded by the Queens community a lot. My sisters, they attended Queens. They played soccer for 4 years, so I knew a lot about the school coming in and was always really excited to come here. I'm a member of the SAC committee here, which is the Student Athletic Advisory Committee. So basically what they do is they interact with a bunch of student athletes. And basically we just discuss ways to make life better on campus. And it's a great opportunity for leadership skills and build yourself to get into a business in the future. I'm a comm major. I want to do some like sports broadcasting, radio, podcast, stuff like this. I find that stuff really interesting.
Yeah, so I actually have a pretty good connection to golf. My grandfather, he actually started the Magnolia Classic in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. He was the one that started
really?
it and got it run up, and now it's an actual PGA Tour event. Like, it's a lower one, but
Yeah.
it's there, and I actually love golf, so I think it'll be
That's
interesting to
awesome.
go talk about some golf with you.
Yeah, dude,
whenever we want.
definitely.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. So I'm going to give a little intro about myself. I've had 4 years at Queens for swimming and sport management. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. And recently in news for me, I'm actually doing a 5th year for swimming and business courses. So I'll be at Queens for another year to win another championship and bring a 4th championship to the swimming team for me. Yeah, I can't wait. I think it's going to be
I
great.
always wonder what it's like to win a national championship. That's awesome.
It's something amazing. Like, it's a feeling you don't get very often, obviously. So I love it, and I'm excited for another year to do everything I'm doing.
I bet, man.
I think our goals and everything is to have like a good community that wants to listen to our podcast and just show what Queens Athletics is about. Interview the coaches, get some of the players on here, get some of like anyone we can basically that wants to talk and just talk about their sport.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think part of this podcast, we want to get really more of a story-based insight on Queens Athletics and what the teams are all about. We really want to get into what it's like being a student athlete and what it's like to win as a Queens Royal. So
Yeah,
that's no secret here
I
on Queens.
agree. We have all these winning, but we really don't go into the personal details. We don't give like the personal story of the athlete,
Right.
which I think that's a very good view that many people want to see.
Mhm.
Like, it's one thing to say, all right, I'll just say swimming because I know swimming, but like Alex Kunert, swimmer of the year,
Right.
like that's one thing to say that, but it's a different thing to get them on here and talk like, okay, well, what made you want to come to Queens? Because obviously you're a good enough swimmer to go anywhere you want. What made you want to what basically brought you here? What's your story?
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to just kind of talk to people and get their views on everything besides just the winning.
Another big thing is there's so much stuff going on with new head coaches coming in, new recruits coming in. I mean, there's always stuff happening, and with this podcast, I think we have the opportunity to cover all of it.
I agree. Actually, with the whole winning thing too, I was just informed yesterday by my head coach that we are right now in 4th of all time of all schools trophies wise.
Really?
Which is pretty impressive. If we win one more, we move up to 2nd of all time, which is honestly amazing.
Yeah.
And in swimming, 7 years in a row, that's the longest streak of any division for championships.
That's unbelievable.
Which a little school in Charlotte, North Carolina, you don't expect that from.
No, yeah.
So I think that's pretty amazing, and we need to, I think, talk about just our winning ways more and just get these athletes in here and hear what they have to say.
100%. Growing up, I've always been surrounded by sports. Not just the actual playing part of it, but basically what is sports about, whether it's hanging out with the team, this and that, what like the mental side of sports is like. I feel like broadcasting sort of brings that extra energy into sports that people at home can see, oh wow, like I'm actually living in that moment. And that sort of brings like a different level of sports to the people watching at home or listening at home.
I'm kind of the same way. I grew up in every sport basically. Hard to decide what I wanted to pursue as a kid, which gave me a really wide view of all these sports that I'm really thankful for. Just as a kid, I would always talk about sports, and people would be like, "How do you even know about cricket?" Or "How do you know about soccer? You've never played soccer." So I just always have loved it. And then this summer, I did an internship with a sport news broadcaster, WWL in New Orleans, and I just fell in love with sports broadcasting. I sat down on the draft night for the Pelicans, and I talked about the draft picks that we had, and that I just fell in love instantly with it. Just putting my view that I have of sports, and I feel like I have a good knowledge of sports it just is cool to explain to people what I see and how I see it compared to what they would see. And I always like going back and forth and just kind of forming a new view almost with like someone else's opinion, which is my love for sports is just comes from my like the views of everyone and just coming together and making a new view on, let's say, like the head coach of basketball. If we were going back and forth on that, I think we could have like a good conversation about that, and that just it really brings the community together too. Sports, so I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's always entertaining to have a good voice to listen to. Like I love listening to like First Take. Well, I used to. Um, there's just a lot of shows like Mike and Mike in the Morning. I used to always watch that. That was one of my favorites.
Same, yeah.
I love their little back and forth that they had going, and they're best friends and everything. So, just a great thing to be a part of.
You said you're from New Orleans, correct?
Yeah, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Talk to me about how you feel about Final Four, National Championship being hometown.
Hey, I wish I could go, man. I said if St. Peter's went to the Final Four, I'm
dude,
going home.
How legendary would that be?
I would have gone home for that. I mean, it's the first time that 4 Blue Bloods all in the Final Four. I think this is going to be really interesting. New Orleans is a great city to host. I don't know if you've been.
I haven't. I'd love to go.
So I know I talked with Kat about it because she went for the Sugar Bowl one year, and she was saying that she loved it. So, I mean, it's just a great tournament town.
Mm-hmm.
It's great, like, there's nothing you can't do there.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
It's a great time. They host very well.
That's awesome, man. I'm excited for Final Four, National Championship.
Oh, I am too. I think it's going to be very interesting. I think Coach K, it's his last one, so he's kind of he has the pressure on him, but I think he's got to do something.
Yeah, for sure.
I think
go out with a bang.
Him and UNC matchup, that's going to be fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was just destined to happen, I guess. Especially with everything that's going on. And so you're from North Carolina, you said?
Yeah, from New Bern.
New Bern, yeah. I'm not really sure with New Bern. I've never been around North Carolina, just Charlotte area. So can you tell me a little bit about
It's
that?
just, eastern North Carolina, probably maybe 35, 40 minutes from the beach. Nothing like Charlotte by all means, but it's just it's a really great town where I've met a lot of my closest friends. Growing up, middle school, high school. I really grew my golf career there. Had a lot of help, with head pros at the golf course. My dad was a big help, and just I love New Bern. I mean, I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now. But yeah, I love New Bern with all my heart, and yeah, it's a great place to be.
Yeah. So you said you got started on golf there. I mean, I played Pinehurst once with my dad.
Oh yeah.
And how close is like Pinehurst to New Bern?
Probably 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
Okay.
Everywhere is kind of a track from New Bern.
Yeah.
I've played in golf tournaments over the summers and just traveling every weekend. The max would be like 2-3 hours, 4 hours every weekend. And it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Just to play 2 days and come right back home. But that's why I do it. I love competing.
Exactly.
And I love trying to win. That's why I do it.
Yeah, that's me too. I mean, just love to go out there and race.
Exactly.
It's a fun time. So what got you into golf besides like just being around it and like you said, your dad was a pro?
Yeah. So I grew up playing baseball. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a professional baseball player. But heading into middle school, I kind of just switched over and be like, I could have a better career and make it farther in golf than I would baseball. So I had to make that tough decision, leave all my baseball friends behind.
Of course, yeah.
And I think it was maybe 6th grade, 7th grade, I started to really push golf. And it was tough because in middle school, 7th grade, I had to give up playing basketball. And all my friends were, giving me a hard time, like, Casey, why aren't you playing basketball? Like why golf? I was like, I don't know, man. Something's telling me just to play. You got to play golf this year, just golf. I did that, played middle school, played all through high school, and here I am now playing at the D2 level.
Yeah.
I've had some success, I was freshman player of the year in high school, junior year, state champion, runner-up, only a sophomore now in college, and, sky's the limit. I got 2, maybe 3 more years left.
Especially in golf. I mean, you can go anywhere with golf.
Yeah. The thing about golf is you can play it however long you want.
Exactly.
And there's so many connections to be made within the business world, and I'm really glad I made the switch.
Yeah, I mean, golf's a great sport. That's one sport that you can go for a meeting,
Exactly.
In your business, you can be like, oh, let's just go play like a couple holes and talk about whatever, So I think that's a great sport to be a part of, obviously, and it really helps you business-wise too. Louisiana, swimming is not big. You can go there and like maybe 2 or 3 D1, D2 level swimmers, but So like I said, I played all these sports growing up. I did golf, baseball, football, swimming, tennis, track. I did
Mhm.
everything. I wanted to feel out everything to know what I loved, you know? So I love football. Football was my number one thing, but I hurt my MCL trying to
Mm.
tackle someone. And my mom came to me and she goes, "You're not doing that again. So go ahead and
Yeah.
choose a sport that you're not getting hurt in." And my coach at the time, he's a very big coach in Louisiana. He talked to me and he was like, "I think you could actually like go far in swimming if you took it seriously." Because I never went to morning practice. I only did one practice a day. Didn't lift. So I was like, "Okay, I'll give it a shot. See what happens." So I ninth grade, freshman year of high school, I quit all sports except swimming, and I just gave my all to swimming. And eventually, it turned out to not be too good till like senior year. I wasn't good till senior year. I won state. I carried my team with 5 people to third place, which was like every other team had 15, 20 people.
Yeah.
And I really just fell in love with the sport. The team, like base, just the way it feels like racing, the adrenaline I get before racing, it just everything. I fell in love with it. And coming in, looking at schools and everything, I came here. I talked to Jeff Dugdale, the coach here, and I just fell in love with the program here. The team is exactly what I wanted. It was tight knit. It was like we're here to win. Like winning is a tradition here, but like we also don't take winning for granted. You know,
Right.
like yeah, we win, but we don't say we're gonna win because you have to work towards that.
Exactly.
So I love that we had a grind still, but we knew what we were all grinding towards, which that just made me fell in love with everything about Queens and Queens swimming. So here I am, you know. I love it. I've had a great 4 years, and I'm ready to do another one.
I've been surrounded by the Queens community a lot with my sisters coming here for their 4 years, coming to a lot of their soccer games. So I got to see a lot of the complex over there and a little bit on campus. And I got recruited to play golf here. My roommate actually, Clayson Good, he committed early to come here, and we've been great friends for probably like 10 years or so. And he was really pushing me to come here, pushing me to come here. I was like, all right, I'll take a visit. I'll take a visit. I come visit, and as soon as I stepped on, I knew this was it for me.
Hmm.
Relatively small campus, not a whole lot of students. So you get to meet a lot of new people, make a lot of great friends. And for me, the golf aspect was perfect. Charlotte, great place for golf,
Yeah,
and a lot of great facilities we have. So I knew from the get go that I wanted to come here
hmm.
and make a career out of it.
I think the basketball coach one's a huge one, obviously,
Hmm.
because they were greatly ranked the whole year. They played amazing the whole year, and they lost no one.
Yeah.
They
Oh
only
yeah.
lost their coach.
Yeah.
So like getting a coach that's been here as well and knows the team and knows what they like work well as like a unit. I think it's going to be a very big year for them next year. I think they could go very far.
100%.
And
100%.
same with the girls lacrosse. I mean, number one, and if they get that championship, like I said, we'll go to number two. That's pretty big news. I feel like we
Yeah.
got to give them some credit because last year they got to the finals, obviously, and they didn't make it. They didn't get what they wanted, but it was still a great run last year. And now, I mean, I've been to a few games, and I can tell you that they're a force to be reckoned with. That's for sure.
Hmm. I said it earlier. Queens is it's no secret that
Hmm.
we're a winning school, and I think coming down the stretch in the spring season, we have great opportunities to cover a lot of great moments in sports, like you said. Women's lax. Um, tennis is making a good run.
Hmm.
Obviously,
Definitely
there's
are.
just so many opportunities to cover sports and bring it to the outside community.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a great opportunity to introduce some people to like the new coach.
Right.
I'm sure not many people know about like who the new basketball coach is and like what he's about. Because I mean, I've met him a few times, but I don't know his story, you know. And I would like to
Hmm.
hear like what brought him here, what made him want to come to Queens and like take the mantle of head coach now when he could have gone elsewhere probably, like and tried somewhere else to start a whole new thing under his like tutelage, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it'll be a great opportunity just to give the Queens community a better insight of our sports and our winning ways, as well as our personalities.
Couldn't agree more. I'm really excited for this.
I am too.
It's only the pilot intro podcast episode, but I think this is really going to take off, and with the right marketing and spreading the word, I think this could really take off.
I agree. I think this is going to be a very exciting time for everyone. This is going to be really fun to just sit down with some people, talk about sports, and just get their insight on their sport, you know? Because, yeah, we watch it, but we never hear much about from the coaches or players. So I think it's gonna be really cool to see the Queens community interact with us and everything.